welcome back to One Comic Book a Day, where we have a humdinger of a story with the first story in Superboy 14, The Boy from Mars. Superboy is going up against other Superboy, though this Superboy is from Mars. This is at least the third version of Martians we have seen in the Superman comics so far. There's possibly more, I might be forgetting some. I never have the confidence to believe whatever number I come up with. But from the top of my head, we have the robotic Martians we saw very recently that involved the joke where Superboy threw a discus into space, so they saw a flying saucer. Probably the best moment in the entire comic. And of course, we had the Orson Welles guest starring issue that had the Nazi sympathizing, or Nazi copycats, or I guess just plain Nazi Martians, led by Martler. Which, the more I talk about that comic, the more I realized how much I just love that premise. I can't get through saying Nazi Martians led by Martler without giggling. It's just such a wonderfully stupid comic book idea that straddles that line between genius and absolutely dumb, and I love it so much. I take back any negativity I have about that story, and it's slowly become one of my favorite the more and more I think about it. Man, this is a bad series if I just retroactively say that my previous reviews were bad. Our Mars boy was given cosmic powers from an asteroid, you know how that just happens, and has become a superhero on Mars. Mars is populated by former Earthlings who escaped Earth for reasons to come to this planet, but somehow forgot how to make water or bring water. Why would they go to a planet without water? So they send Mars Boy back to Earth to get some water. Now, there's actually a formula to create water that they hid on the Sphinx. This is incredibly comic booky. Hell, this could be a Doctor Who episode. I'd watch the hell out of this. But he's going to grab the Sphinx and take it back because he can't use his X-ray vision to see into the Sphinx. That's when Superboy gets involved. This entire comic, like a lot of superheroes meeting each other, has to do with a misunderstanding and no one actually having a conversation. He just wants an equation from the Sphinx. Also, seeing that an entire population will die without water, who cares if he takes the Sphinx? I know it's a cultural icon, it's a monument, it's very special to us, but this is a life and death situation. I think we could give up the Sphinx and let it go to Mars if we can figure out how we can get up there. I'd love to visit Mars if it's apparently run by this sort of futuristic, almost Kryptonian in the way. It's sort of a sci-fi futuristic city or planet. Not exactly sure how populated it is. But Superboy and Mars Boy are going to kind of go at each other without having a conversation about this. And it leads to, Superboy actually dealing with a fantastical problem. They're a little bit even, but there's some fun with the action sequences. At least they make sense, and there's a reason for Superboy to exist in said story. They're maybe not the most excitingly depicted. I mean, they're basically wrestling in one panel. And a little bit fun with our Martian child going into school with his own disguise, which he hates, and going by the name Joe Mars, which honestly, Superboy, it's so obvious. His name is Joe Mars, and he's new. And them kind of being petty to each other without 100% using their powers while secretly, dueling in school. Which so far, I've actually really enjoyed those moments where he has to secretly combat someone without throwing fists, but using his powers in subtle ways with someone in the classroom. And I actually do love that they both figure out their secret identities because they both sense their X-ray vision being used on each other. Well, Joe Mars uses his first, and Superboy senses it, so he uses his X-ray vision. They're both like, hey, you have a symbol under your suit, too. Until we finally get, a conversation between them. And that's, the nagging problem of this whole story. All they had to do was talk to each other. I've repeated this over and over again. And that's a really disappointing way to end your story. If either one of them had been less petty about seeing another Superboy around, they could have just solved this in minutes. Maybe we needed a better reason, like him taking something that would have killed people, literally stealing a water source from a town or city. That could have been really bad. I don't know how he would have done that, but that would have been fun to see him try with his superpowers. But no, it's just the Sphinx, and it's such an easy solution. It turns out their X-ray visions work differently, so Superboy can see the equation, so he just sends them off. But hey, a weak climax I will take if you continue to have, Superboy stories with actual fantastical elements. The story found ways to be fun throughout. And it was a big story without annoying habits of depiction and slow storytelling. We're getting better in the Golden Age. We're probably going to take 2 steps back next issue, but hey, I will take this. I'll take this. This is better than your usual Superboy story. And we will see Mars Boy again, so there will be some sort of continuity. Though Superboy and Superman continuity is in question when Mars and its inhabitants constantly change. Remember, this is the third version of Martians we have seen in the series. Okay, that is it from Superboy issue 14, The Boy from Mars. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, hit the bell icon to get notifications when a new video goes up. I do this Monday through Friday, but Friday is a Bat Friday. We'll cover Batman story in either Detective Comics or Batman. And until next time, let's ponder the question, whatever did happen to the boy of tomorrow? And maybe you should give that equation to the rest of society. It'd probably be very helpful for certain areas of the world to be able to make their own water. Okay, have a great day.